That thumbnail has nothing to do with the book, but I thought it was funny. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Narrated up by Disney, or current Lucasfilm, put the two together. Ice cream sandwich? I don't know. Legends. So, today we have DarkSaber, the second book in the Callista trilogy. Also, if you see this, it's like a bruise or something. I don't know, it won't go away. So, it's not like a stain or anything. But, so non-spoiler. It has nothing to do with, that black blade that you've seen in The Mandalorian or the Clone Wars or Rebels. If that's what you're thinking. It does not. Admiral Daala is back. So is Captain Pellian from the Thrawn trilogy. And Callista is here with Luke. If you read the last story or saw the review, then you know why Callista is around and who she is. Still kind of weird because she's a walking corpse, but I guess it's not a corpse. It's a living thing still somehow because of her being in it. But it's neither here nor there. This book is significantly more enjoyable than the last book. There are parts of it I don't like, but I don't see the hate for this one specifically, because this one actually has some really, really good moments. So I don't know. I don't get it. Overall, the overall thing, and also Durga the Hutt is around, and we'll get to him when we get to him. If you don't remember, the Han Solo trilogy by A.C. Crispin, we'll also get into that for Durga the Hutt. But yeah, the Imperial Remnant band together and they attack Yavin 4, and so it's a whole thing. And if you want to know more, you're gonna have to read it. Because I don't want to spoil too much, because I actually think this one is like legitimately worth reading. Like maybe get a summary of the last one somewhere. I would still recommend the last one because I personally enjoyed enough of it to feel like it's recommended, but I'm in the minority because a lot of people hate it. So at the very least, get a summary of the last book and then actually read this one. I think this one is worth your time. But yeah, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. I just don't have as much to say non-spoiler wise for this, so if you don't want spoilers, then go read it. If you don't care or you've already read it, welcome. But here we go. My first note is I really like Kevin J. Anderson. Right from the start, we have Luke on Tatooine on the Bantha with Han, and he's trying to go to ObiWan's old home because he wants to get into contact with him. He knows that in the Thrawn trilogy he said, I'm not going to be able to talk to you anymore. But he's really concerned about Callista because Callista can't use the Force, and he wants her to be able to use the Force and all that. We'll get into Callista later, but I don't know. A lot of people seem to, I don't know, it seems like a lot of people are mean to Kevin J. Anderson, like his Jedi Academy trilogy or this book, and I don't see it. I think he's a really good author, and I enjoy what I've seen of him so far, so, I don't know. I disagree, though. But we find out that Jabba had ways of getting info, or getting, like, the Emperor's, like, secret info. That was, like, mainly just for him and, like, maybe Darth Vader. Which just shows you, despite the fact that, of course, the Sith Lords can't be defeated by some fat slug thing, but still, at the very least, Jabba's a very competent villain. And he may never be able to go toe-to-toe with Darth Vader or the Emperor, but he knows that. So he's more of the slimy, you know, like he's got his hands planted in a lot of places and he knows how to work the system, work the game. Yeah, he won't rule the entire world, but whoever's the winning force, he can play his cards right to his benefit. Of course, he's dead now, but it's neither here nor there. I just thought it was a good insight into Jabba the Hutt, who, even after the fact that he's dead, we still get a little bit more characterization for him and how intelligent and cunning he was. Kind of like how we saw in the X-Wing Rogue Squadron series. We saw how there was an old Jedi-like museum or temple or whatever, and there's a bunch of slash marks on all the statues and stuff, and you just get a little bit, it's not much, but you get a little bit, even though he's, you know, dead at this point, we get a little bit of insight into the Emperor's mind and how he thinks. And so in the same way, I thought it was really cool with that little scene. It wasn't much, but I enjoyed it. Yeah. Luke goes to Obi-Wan's home, and of course, nothing. Obi-Wan already told him, I can't talk to you anymore. I'm going to become one with the Force forever. If you heard that, I apologize, which I'm sure you did. But anyway, he just, you know, he fully realizes that, you know, after all this time, really, I'm not alone anymore, but I am the master, and I have to do the rest on my own. My next note, which is Durga the Hutt. Now, I believe this was maybe his first appearance. Don't quote me on that. But, of course, I'm reading it in chronological order. So I first saw him in the A.C. Crispin Han Solo trilogy with the Hutt's Gambit and Rebel Dawn. And he was there all the way back then. He's the one with the birth defect. And everyone, like, you know, kind of looks down on him for that. And so he has to prove himself. But here he is again, all these years later. And he's trying to create another super weapon. Yeah, it is getting kind of redundant. However, with this, it wasn't even that big of a super weapon. It was like something that they would add to their ship to kind of like threaten planets that didn't pay back their taxes or whatever. Or not planets, like people. I don't know, it wasn't as grand as other super weapons have been. Of course, this could have been another thing used against the Yusong Vong, but that's not going to happen. I still don't understand how Callista works, because she took possession of the body, but I have to assume, because the author doesn't in any way imply that this is gross or anything, that this is a living body, like it is not dying. Because my last impression from the last book was this is a dead person's body, a rotting corpse that she's taking possession of, but that's not it. She has full control of it, and it's not seeming to die, so it must be fine. But even still, it's so weird. And I know that it's like morphed from Luke's student into looking more like how Callista used to look, however that fully works. But it's just weird. And like I said, I'm not a Callista hater, but it's just really, really weird. But yeah, I'll get more into that later. Or just more into Callista in general later. Kip's back. A lot of people hate on Kip, but you're all stupid. He's one of my favorite characters of the EU so far. And you know what? I put him above Cornhorn. So take that. I like Cornhorn a lot, don't get me wrong. I like Kip. And all of you who say that he's just a spoiled little brat who got off easy, no. Read the short story where people call him the Butcher. It's not. He is a dynamic character, and I love it. And if you can forgive Vader so easily, you should be able to forgive him. Anyway, Admiral Dala is back. She didn't die. She's still around, and she wants to unite the remnants of the Empire together, kind of like Thrawn did, so they can have a big stand against the New Republic. But everyone keeps fighting and not doing what they should be doing. And because of that, it's really hard to organize and fight it off against the Republic. We get to see Pellian after all this time, and we find out that he is now Vice Admiral Pellian. It's really cool to see him again, and it's cool to see a different author write about him, and not really, like, ruin anything that Timothy Zahn wrote. I really feel like this is, it still feels like him, and it feels like a progression of him. It's hard to describe it. He's still his unique self, but I feel like after everything he went through with Thrawn, there is a bit of Thrawn in him. Not the cold and calculus stuff, but I don't know, just the way he carries himself now. But I really enjoyed seeing him again. It was a very small scene. My note said the whole family, and it took me a second to remember. And it's just a very small scene. Luke's about to leave with Callistia to go do something. But you have Leia holding Jason and Jaina, Han's holding Anakin, C-3PO and R2-D2 are coming along, and Chewbacca's there, and they're all just kind of saying goodbye. And it was not a significant moment at all in the book, but it was just, it's like, imagine if you had like a portrait of the whole family. It's kind of what it felt like. It was just really nice to see them all together. And seeing as how everything will not be happy fun times forever. I mean, not that it's happy fun times right now, but it feels like what all these books after the Thrawn trilogy feel like. That the Thrawn trilogy felt like a sequel to the movies, alright? All these books after the fact, after that, they're not bad by any means, but they feel like, I don't know, if they made a Clone Wars TV show, but set after the Thrawn trilogy. That's what I feel like these books are. They're like episodes from a TV show, but not worthy of a movie, I'd say, in my personal opinion. But, knowing the future of some of these characters, just getting one portrait moment of the whole family in this book was just, I don't know, it was very nice to see. Callista talks about her old master or whatever from the, prequels. And Luke says, oh yeah, I saw his ship on Dathomir. It was just really cool because there was an abandoned Jedi ship in the Courtship of Princess Leia novel, so it's cool that they are just providing that continuity there. But yeah, so we go to the back now. Oh, my next note. Dala pulls a master. Or I guess the master pulls a Dala, because this was written long before the reboot of Doctor Who. But let me explain. So, for those of you who've seen Doctor Who, this was during David Tennant's era. This would be Season 3, I believe. Yeah, Season 3. The Master has returned. He's regenerated into a younger guy and trying to become the Prime Minister. But he goes into this boardroom, and, like, the whole place is gassed. And so they all die, but he has a gas mask ready, and so he's safe. So in this book, she's not initially planning that from the start, but she's trying to get them to organize. And she's like, she did a thing where, like, the doors locked down, and even she can't unlock them, and they're stuck in there for 3 hours, and it won't open again until after 3 hours. So they're supposed to talk and work it out. But for 2 hours, they're just bickering. And she gets fed up, and she's like, fine, I'll solve this problem myself. And she presses a button and quickly puts on a gas mask. And Pellian notices, like, her reaching for it. So he immediately goes and gets one as well. I don't know if the other ones had one. I'm assuming not. I don't know. But so they're both safe. But everyone else in that room, gone. So now Dala is in charge of the remaining Imperial remnant. Now she's going to do what she needs to do. But anyway, yeah, I just thought it just got a direct parallel to Doctor Who. So, now here's where we get to the Callista thing. I'm not a Callista hater. I find the whole aspect of her being in somebody else's body really weird. But their relationship is nice. It's fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. The hints that I got for something possibly with Luke and Mara at the end of the Thrawn trilogy, I definitely preferred. Because it was so subtle. It wasn't really like, oh yeah, we're going to date. And I don't even know if that was, like, planned. It just kind of happened with their characters later. But the simple gesture of Luke giving Mara Jade his father's lightsaber, the lightsaber used in episode 4, and episode 5, sorry, was just, it was a really nice gesture. And like I said, I think I'm indifferent to Callista. as a character, she's a really great, well-rounded character. Her and Luke, I don't know, it feels a little forced, but I don't hate it. It's just kind of there. But I do have to say, I like this book a lot, but all the parts that drag down for me are the parts with Callista, except for like the very end when she gives into the dark side or whatever. But for most of it, every time it's Callista and Luke, the show, I'm like, all right, can we move on to the more interesting stuff? And that's just how I felt. So yeah, I guess I'm in the middle. I'm not a... I know a lot of people hate these series, but I don't hate it, and I don't hate Callista. And I know, like, Matt Wilkins, who's in the big, giant minority, loves Callista, and I'm like, she's okay. I don't hate her, I don't love her. And that's just kind of where I stand. Yeah, and one of my other notes is, everyone hates Kip, but I'm so glad that in this book he's getting some love, because he doesn't have a major part in it, but he has, you know, a pretty significant part in this book. Or he has a role to play in this book, and I enjoyed him being in it because he is really cool and I like him. Crix Nadine, which was a character from the movies, wasn't like a big character or anything. He maybe got a couple lines. If you don't know who that is, just Google it real quick. You'll be like, oh, that guy. But he gets captured by Durga. Dorsk 81, which was the unique clone, because he comes from a planet of clones. Like, everyone on his planet, they're the same. But he's unique, because he's the only one who's able to use the Force. Unfortunately, during the conflict on Yavin with the Empire, or the Imperial Remnant, he dies. It was actually kind of surprising. It didn't make me sad or anything, but it was... I didn't expect him to die. I didn't expect anybody to die in this book. And we're not done yet with that. Because the next thing that happens is Crix Nadine is murdered by Durga. Alright? This is a movie character. Dead. I think this is the first time that we see a movie character, at least from the original trilogy, die. I know he wasn't like a huge character or anything, but this is... He got murdered. That was crazy. Because I really didn't expect anybody to die in this book. I'm like, this is the Bantam era. Nobody dies here. They die in Rogue Squadron, and that's it. Nobody's gonna die until we get to New Jedi Order. But no, I was wrong. People die. And it was crazy. Alright, and then they destroy the super weapon in like a couple hits. So I was like, goodbye advantage against Vong. Though at the same time, if they destroyed it so easily, maybe it wouldn't have helped that much against the Vong. I don't know. The next note says, thank you, EU, for Akbar. Because all Akbar was in the movies was he had like 2 lines. He's like, it's a trap. Sorry, that's 3 lines. And he might have had like one other scene. But like, he was just another face, like to show a new alien. But in the EU, he's a huge character. And I love it. Dala escapes the ending of this book. And when she gets back, she says, because of our failure, I don't think I'm fit to lead. And she names Pellian the new leader of the remaining Imperial fleet. And that's where we leave off. Callista's still alive, and she's gonna do something. I don't really care, but we have one more story with her, which is Planet of Twilight. But we do have a break in between that, because our next novel is Starfighter at a Dumor. It's another X-Wing book. And then we won't get another X-Wing book till New Jedi Order. No, I think it's like Fate of the Jedi. We don't get another one till then. It's called Mercy Kill or something. So it's going to be a long time before we get another X-Wing book. But then after that we have Planet of Twilight. And then we begin the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I definitely enjoyed this book more than Children of the Jedi by a lot. And I do think it's worth your time. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know if you've read it, what you thought in the comment section below. And if you haven't read it yet, shame on you for sticking around for spoilers. Actually, I don't care. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. And thank you again for joining me through this amazing universe far, far away. Bye-bye.